keys to mental toughness that you wouldn't normally get from some of the other coaches that you might have worked with in the past. And I'm going to make a disclaimer here. I'm by no means discrediting or bashing other coaches. I'm simply stating what I've experienced myself being coached by other coaches. I've never found the edge that I needed in order to go forward with my goals and actually have that mental toughness to protect myself from possible, I don't like to use this word, but we're going to talk about it, possible failure, right? So what is our platform about? What do we do? And who are we? We are a diverse group of people. That's Jed, Domenick, and myself. We have diverse backgrounds, and we all have a very universal thought, and that is to build people and heal people so that they can have the tools, they can have the successes, they can have the journeys that they've dreamed of without having to refer back to their pain of their past, and actually use these tools not only to grow, but to help other people around them and yourself if you're watching, right? So that's essentially what we do. Now we're focused on performance-based athletes in general. And I think that this is a very important market because athletes go through a lot of stress, anxiety. They go through a lot of performance anxiety. They go through a lot of issues when it comes to mental toughness. They don't have the necessary support system. They just have coaches that tell them what to do next, but they don't really have that in between where they understand, okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to do it. So this is where we come in. We intervene. We're that middle group, so to speak. We're that the bridge to helping you gain that mental toughness, to helping you get that edge when it comes to competition, when it comes to performance, when it comes to just doing what you need to do to get to that next level. All right. So that being said, I want to talk about what NLP really is. Now, this term has been thrown about a lot. I get asked this a lot. Dibs, you've been asked this a lot. What is NLP? This is this 3-letter abbreviation that seems to cause confusion in a lot of people. Well, I'm here to explain exactly what that is. NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming. I know it's a big word, or big set of words, but I'm going to break that down. Neuro being brain, linguistics being language, and programming, which is self-explanatory. So essentially, it's brain language programming. You're essentially rewiring the way you think because our minds rely on language. Our existence is language. Language drives us. Language feeds us. Language gets us to that next level. Language stops us from getting to that next level. So it's a huge, huge influence in our lives. And this is where NLP is very, very useful. We use language to create positive change. And to kind of highlight this, I want to quote something from one of my teachers. In an area of life where you've encountered a tremendous amount of difficulty, okay, a lot of failure, or what you thought was failure, a lot of frustration, a lot of limiting beliefs, and a lot of patterns of thinking that just don't work, right? It's a mistake to assume that if some of the coach, and a lot of coaches make this mistake through no fault of their own because they're operating on default. It's a mistake that they assume that if they just give you a new set of things to do, you're going to go out and do them and get consistent results. Well, that's not always the case. The problem is all of that old stuff that you've been thinking out and you've kept bottled up and you keep referring back to, it's going to keep coming back up. But if you're prepared for it, if you know that it's going to come up and you know how to deal with it when it does, then it won't get in your way, right? So what we do is help you so that it doesn't get in your way. This is where NLP is very, very useful. Okay. So using language and using the power of language, we create positive change. And as little as some of my clients have told me that they've been able to solve some of their very, very deepest issues in as under as 5 to 10 minutes. And I've worked with some of these clients regularly, and they keep coming back, not because they have the same issues, but because they want to learn and keep growing and go further and further and further. So I don't want to get too much into the history of NLP. Essentially, I'll give you a premise. NLP started in the 70s, and it was started by two geniuses, as I like to call them. They're not scientists. One is a linguist, and the other one is a mathematician. And they came together in the 70s to create neuro-linguistic programming, which is, again, this model that language, our thoughts, our feelings, and behaviors can be changed with language, right? And that's the premise of NLP. So how is this relevant in crushing our habits? Well, like I said, if you keep thinking about the old stuff, if you keep referring back to the pain of your past, if you keep ruminating on stuff, I've done it before. I'm pretty sure everybody in this room has done it before, right? We keep ruminating about things because we're only human, right? But here's the thing. What if we had a way to stop this process of constantly looping all of our past garbage, right? What if we had this essential tool to stop it? Because, the mind operates on momentum, right? For all the physics geeks out there, when an object is in motion, how do you stop it? Debs, you want to take this? Or Sam, you want to take this one? How do you stop an object in motion?
Will remain in motion until acted on by another force.
Exactly, right? And this is where we stand. We are that other force. We're that external force that stops that momentum, right? So habits are essentially a form of momentum that is based on some of your past actions, right? Some of your past limiting beliefs that have formed habits. These are repetitive actions, repetitive behaviors that happen based on a past reference point, right? And so when you learn how to stop that, that's where you can really crush all of these bad habits and create new ones, right? You're going to create new ones using some of the tools that we're going to give you. So this is where NLP is very, very useful in crushing those destructive bad habits. Now, how can I help as an NLP coach? Well, with years of experience coaching clients, both as a hypnotherapist and an NLP coach, I understand some of our deepest issues because I've gone through pretty much, you name it, I've probably gone through it, right? I don't want to get into too much of my backstory because this is not about me. This is about you. I can tell you this, having suffered from 20 years of chronic depression, going through every dark habit, destructive habit you could probably name to me, I've done it. I've been there. I've gone through it, right? So I understand. I have that perspective. I have that inside perspective as a coach to deeply understand some of your issues. And I can work with you from that point to really get you to where you need to be in as little time as possible. So that's my goal as a coach and a hypnotherapist. Now, what are some benefits of working with an NLP practitioner or a hypnotherapist like myself? Some of the benefits are, well, think about it this way. You're going to have a new understanding of your goals. You're going to have a brand new perspective, something that you've never thought about before, right? Because we're going to get you to that point. You're going to have the confidence, and you're going to learn how to use confidence as a process and call upon it when needed. It doesn't have to be a constant state that you have to be in, because here's the thing. This is my belief system. I believe confidence is not a thing. It's not something that can be measured. How do you measure confidence, right? You can't measure it with centimeters. You can't measure it with kilograms, but it's a process. If you learn how to use this process of confidence to really build yourself and call upon it when needed, I'm telling you, your life is going to drastically change like it did for me. All right. So things like confidence, you're going to understand how to use it as a process. Fear is a process. You're going to learn how to remove that process and replace it with some positive processes or processes, depends on how you say it. Right. So these are some of the benefits that you'll get working with someone like me, a hypnotherapist and an NLP practitioner. And with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Jed, who's going to give his perspective and what he does and how he's going to help our clients. Jed, take it away.
My name's Jed Hodges. Most of you know me as Hodge. Either way is fine. I've been training people online and in person for about 10 years now. And the way my angle on helping you with this is mostly going to be stuff with experience. So, because I've been through a lot of this, I've been on the other side of the spectrum. So when people tell me their issues or what they're thinking, I usually know what to say or how to relate to make them have that epiphany or realize a different way of thinking about stuff. Because some of this stuff, I've always been a throw myself to the wolves guy. Like I never learned by being told I just have to go and get the experience. So, and as you guys work with us, you'll see that. Oh, actually, a lot of us are like that. Now, one thing I want you guys to think about today is, since we're talking about habits, if there's one line I've repeated more than anything in my whole career, it is telling people you are a product of your lifestyle. When you get up and you look at yourself and you analyze who you are, that is a result of everything you have done. And the past day, the past week, month, whatever, it all determines who you are. I say this because if you want to change yourself, whether it's health, personality, blood work, gaining muscle, losing fat, whatever it is, you have to change the things you do. And that it seems to be one of the hardest things for people to do when they start this, because, we're creatures of habit and we have to learn to break those because we want to be somebody better. So that's, once you can grasp a handle on that, it gets a lot easier to do. So obviously the people that are here right now are not 100% happy with who they are, or they're wanting, I won't say 100% happy, they're wanting to change. They're wanting to be better. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be better. And some of you that have already started have noticed that's one of the things you've had to do is start changing your habits, changing your routine. So when you start going through and you start doing this stuff, you're going to start finding, how do I say it? Like bumps in the road stuff. You're going to start realizing the whole habit message a lot sooner, because as people start to try to shift to a different program, they're going to realize, well, I have to give up this. I have to change this. I have to do this. And that's where people have a hard time shifting that. So one of the things we do and I try to do personally, is try to change your way of thinking about things so that you can see the bigger picture. For instance, when people are saying like, well, I don't want to eat just 3 or 4 things, the same thing every day. Well, I know it sucks, but the result's what you're going for. So it's the stuff in the middle you have to get through, because when you get to the end, you're gonna be like, man, I was really glad I did that. That's one of the ways to think about it. There's a lot of things that I say to people like that. Here's a good one that with the beginning is always the progress photos. People don't want to take pictures of themselves when they first get started because they don't want to see how they look. So the way I counteract this, say, well, think of 3 months down the road when you take those other ones and you want to show people, but you can't show people where you started, because you're going to be so happy with how you've changed, but it's going to be more jaw-dropping when you have that initial photo. And plus, it's going to give you accountability. You're going to see yourself. You're not going to be able to trick yourself. You're going to be like, man, I really need to get off my ass and start doing something. So what you have to think about is, what is it you're wanting to do? What specific goal? Is it get leaner, build muscle, get healthier, a little bit of each, whatever, get faster, perform better? And think of, okay, what are you currently doing now to get there? And what do we need to start doing to get there? And when you do this, one thing you can always do is when you start thinking about what goals you want, you need to visualize that person, that version of yourself that you're trying to get. All right. If you're a bodybuilder, you're trying to envision how you're wanting to look, being in center stage of the first call out on stage. If you're a sprinter, you're trying to imagine you are light years ahead of everybody going through the finish line first. And when you start coming to these bumps in the road where you have a fork where you're like, okay, do I do what I always do? Or do I finally do something different to go achieve what I'm supposed to do? Like, for instance, let's say, every Saturday night, you and the guys go out, have a few beers, pizza, whatever. Well, now you have this goal if you're trying to be a better athlete or trying to lose weight, and you've envisioned that version of yourself. when that Saturday night comes up and your boys are busting your balls to go out, you think that person you're envisioning, what would they do in that situation? Because for you to to get to what you're envisioning, you have to do what that person does. That's like a form of manifestation. So this is the stuff that I help with. And of course I do the actual plans and all that stuff too. But me working one-on-one with people for as long as I have, this is probably the main message I have to tell all of them before they get started. Because if I don't tell them before they get started, I end up saying bits and pieces of it all through the long time I work with them. So I usually tell them like, hey, you got to realize like you can't do everything you did today, the day before that, and the day before that, and expect to look different. It's not going to work like that. You have to change a lot of stuff. And I understand there's steps in doing that. But the quicker you can get over that and readjust that and get to that new habit, the better off you're going to be and the faster you're going to get there. Because I think that is the number one biggest problem is changing your routine. And a lot of it is just thinking of it differently. It's just like the couple of examples I've given. It's just finding a different way of thinking about it to realize the bigger picture of what you really want to do. And with that, I will turn it over to Dibs.
What's up, guys? Coach Dibs here. So we got a lot today of what we are, what we do, and I'm here to tell you what we are not. Okay. So we are not your rah bull crap. I was going to curse until I saw, a little kid in the bottom left-hand corner. So, I usually don't like, holding my language, but because there's kids, I don't curse in front of kids. I don't curse in front of grownups. Those are my rules. I'm not a grown-up yet. Grown-up's like 50 plus. All right. So we're not that rah group. People aren't going to be here clapping. Woo, yeah, go. No, we're not that. All right. I don't want people dressing up in suits and coming in and pretending to be what you're not. Okay. Well, this is everything that we do is authentic and real. That's why right now you see what's my background? It's my living room. I have a t-shirt on. I think I had some, there's stains on it because this is who I am. Okay. And if you want anything in life to be successful, you got to be who you are. All right. All these other schools are going to tell you, fake it till you make it, dress the part, act this, act that. And you ever notice those people never get anywhere? It's generally the people who are who they are at heart that end up getting from point A to point B. And this is what NLP Warrior, this is what my job is here. Hey, pay attention, bottom left-hand corner. I see you laughing, Stacy. Yeah. Eyes on me. All right. I want your attention. Okay. I will call you out. I want everyone's participation and attention on this. Okay. Because I want you to realize that in order to get to where you need to get to, there's a little guy, right? In order to get to where you need to get to, there's a lot of emotional control that you're going to need to have. Okay. A lot of your feelings are going to have to get hurt because that's what stops you from getting to where you have to get to. Is that you don't have control of your feelings. You're worried about what everybody else says. You're worried about what other people think. Fortunately, I've been trained by Tim Grover, and I've got a very, very good understanding of people like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. I've studied many of the greatest people, Andrew Carnegie. Okay. And I got these people because I want to see what their mindset is. How do they attack getting where they need to get to? And we're here to give you those tools. Okay. We're using NLP as the gun, right? And the tools are going to be everything that they've used. Okay. So NLP is simply just a delivery tool to get all the lessons of all the great people of the past and give them to you. Okay. So, and everybody's going to be different. All right. Sam, your story, your journey of what you want in life. I don't know what it is yet. I'm looking forward to actually knowing what it is that you want and what it is you're trying to get to. Sam, your steps are going to be completely different from Stacy's and completely different from Crystal's. Our jobs as coaches is to work with you guys individually. So when you get your setback, we all can learn from it and we all can work together so that way you can get to your goal. Okay. This is legitimately about setting goals and getting there. As most of the other guys, what are they going to do? You got to wake up early. You got to do this. You got to do that. But I don't even know what the fuck you want. You got to know what it is that you want. And we're going to be here to help you get there. I don't care what it is. I don't care. I have to learn. Stacy, you may want to be the best cook in the world. Crystal, you may be one of the best lawnmowers in the world. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, these tools all apply the same. and everyone's going to have a different experience. Everybody's going to have a different journey, and we're just coaching you. So that way, when you screw up, which is going to happen, you're going to go and deal with a lot of failure. If you're part of this group, I'm going to tell you, you're going to deal with a lot of setbacks, a lot of failure right off the bat, because you're trying to get somewhere you've never been to. So on your road there, yeah, of course you're going to hit some roadblocks, you know? So that's what we're doing. That's what we are here to do. And we're not going to have you, pretending to be something. We're going to keep it authentic. We're going to keep it real. And we're going to tell you things you may not you might want to hear. Because that's the whole point of a coach, okay? The difference between a friend and an ally is friends tell you what you want to hear. Allies tell you what you need to hear. That's why I don't consider Akira or Jed my friends. I consider them my allies. Because they'll tell me after this, yo, Dibs, you curse too much. Hey, man, we this, that. And I'm like, okay, this is where I need work. I'm being a better coach. And I will tell you guys the same thing too. So, we're here to work for you. We want to see you succeed. I truly, genuinely believe that iron does breed iron. When you guys succeed, we succeed. We all work together. We all succeed together. Every minute, every day, every hour, there's goals, daily goals, hourly goals, weekly goals. When you join our group, you'll be posting your goal and your win for each day. That's going to get you there. All right. It can be simply as I got up this morning and I made breakfast. Because if you haven't been doing that, guess what? You need to start making breakfast. And it can be as extravagant as, I made 5,000 sales this week. Whatever your goal is, we need every single thing of your day has to be somehow incorporated in getting there. Winning is all consuming, guys. It's my favorite quote of all time. That's all I'm concerned with 24 hours a day is how I can win. How can I get to the next level? Every single thing I do. And that's the attitude I want you guys to develop. That's the attitude that we're going to deliver. So that's the avenue we're taking. Looking forward to get to know you guys, part of the group. I'm excited, to be able to push you guys and see. And actually, I don't want to say push. Pushing creates distance. I want to pull you guys up and watch you guys make the jump. And if you fall, we'll pull you back up. Y'all make the jump again. Eventually, you'll fly. That's all I got to say. Coach Dibs out.
Perfectly said.
Mind if I add something real quick?
Go for it, Jed.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but for what Dibs just said, guys, girls, think about it. When he's saying winning consumes everything and stuff, so some of you may seem a little extreme, but at the same time, when you go with that attitude, you can get what you want. And that's even if it's dropped 15 pounds. If you do everything in your power that you're supposed to do to get that off, it will come off faster. It will be more efficient. It'll work better. Plus, you just learned a bunch of skills that you can apply to other stuff to get whatever you want. So you can, some people get the mindset that, okay, I'm not a pro athlete, so I have to act like this. Bullshit. Like, you have that same mentality he has, you can get whatever you want. And yeah, there's sacrifices that come into play, but that's just part of the game. And being able to go through that process for any type of goal is going to give you experience on how to utilize those tools to where the next goal is going to be a lot easier to get because you already know what to do.
Yeah. I want to add this. I want to add to what you said, Jed. I think I can tell you right off the bat, the first habit that you're going to develop, regardless of what that new goal is, new success is going to be consistency. That's the first habit that we're going to get you to build is consistency. Because without consistency, you will cease to win. That's just the reality of it, right? Everything that you do, you ever think about it, right? Let's say you start a new job, right? And you get the training manual, and you look through the training manual and you say, okay, this is what I have to do to be successful at this job. This is what I got to do. This is what I could. Let's be honest here. I've been there before. I'm going to raise my hand too. How much time do we actually spend reading that damn manual? I've been in corporate for probably 12 plus years. Every job I've been to, they give you an owner's manual, or well, not an owner's manual, but a working manual, a handbook, like they like to call it. And they say, okay, go through this entire handbook and master some of the stuff in there and apply it to your job. How often do we do that? We're like, it's boring. But here's the thing. Little did I know that manual actually had value. If I had paid attention to some of the things in there, I would have been successful right from the beginning, right? It's about that consistency. That's what that manual is. We're not going to give you a manual. We're going to give you a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change, but it has to be consistent. It has to be something that you develop, right, with the skills and tools. Thank you, Crystal. Thanks for joining in. I understand. We'll talk later.
Crystal, right. Talk soon. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. So this is what we're going to give you. The other thing I wanted to add is when you work with us, we're not going to be, okay, Stacy, here's the program. Do it. I want to see results in 2 weeks. Nope. We're not going to do that at all. Like Dib said, we're going to be there every step of the way. We're going to monitor your progress. We're going to check up on you. All right. We're going to find out exactly what you've been doing, what you've been doing right, what you've been doing differently, right? What have you not been doing? Stuff like that. Right. And I want everybody in this webinar to focus on one important principle. In my books, now this is a model, you can take it or leave it. In my books, there is no such thing as failure. There's only feedback. All three of us here, Dibs, Jed, and myself, we don't believe in this word called failure. We use it loosely to explain certain things, but as a principle, we don't believe in it. We believe in feedback because we constantly want to grow. We want to be better than who we were. And that's the same goal we want for you, right? So those are 2 points I really, really want to hone in on and emphasize. All right. Anything else from the guys? Dibs, Jed, you want to add stuff to this?
Last thing I'll say is in regards to failure is that think there's a lot of great things that come out of failure. Your dark side, which we'll eventually get to, is part of it. If I were to give an 8-year-old an axe, that could be a very dangerous thing, right? An 8-year-old probably shouldn't hold a sharpened axe. But if you give an axe to a lumberjack, he's going to cut down trees. That's going to build houses and fires. That axe is failure. So how you use it, are you going to act like an 8-year-old and you let it destroy your life? Or are you going to act like a lumberjack, get that failure, learn from it, and make it and build something better? That is how I view failure.
Stacy can already testify to some of this. Stacy, when you have an issue that comes up or something happens, you try to adjust. What do we do? What do I tell you to do? Hold on, let me unmute you first. Yeah, unmute your mic.
Okay. Got it. Move on from it.
Yeah,
in the past.
Adjust and go at it tomorrow.
Exactly.
And you've made results since we started, right? So it hasn't sent you back. You haven't been like, oh, it's all failure. It's not going to work. And you just quit, which people do when they hit a bump in the road. They just say, well, this is how life is, so I just can't do this. It's like, okay, this happened. How did you try to adjust? Okay, well, that's not bad. Maybe try to adjust like this next time. All right, tomorrow, move forward. Let's go. And you've been doing fine. You've had a couple of hiccups and stuff that you couldn't help. But as soon as it happens, you let me know. We talk about what we're going to do. Actually, usually, with the last one, you told me what you were going to do. And I was like, oh, all right, good. We're good. So it's like learning quick.
Exactly.
And everything's going fine. So, I mean,
yeah,
that's all you can do. And guys, you're going to learn. When I tell you guys stories of stuff I've done, I am who I am because of failure. If it wasn't for failure, I wouldn't be anybody. That's probably the most honest. My family threw my ass to the wolves since day one, and because I was so stubborn, I would not learn any other way. So, but the problem is people are so used to like instant gratification and stuff because the way our world works today, that the second that something bad happens, they have this whole the world's coming to an end feeling. And when you start projecting that type of energy out, it does start seeming like that. And that's something I used to be very bad about. So like the minute something comes in the way and you start getting that negative feeling, it just starts growing and growing and you have to stop it. So when something bad happens or something screws up, you're like, okay, here's what happened. How do I fix it? Okay, the next time this or something similar happens, how do I be prepared so I don't make the same mistake, or how can I do better? And you move forward. And guess what? you're already a lot better person than you were right before that happened. So in some way you grew and you made results, and it's going to be harder to take you down the next time because you learned from that experience.
Yeah. And Sam is a living testament of what it means to learn from this thing called failure. Sam and I, we work in other areas as well. Sam, you can unmute yourself. We can have a little conversation here. So Sam can tell the audience here about his successes, his inspirations, and how he's actually transformed himself, just through, we've had these conversations. We've gone back and forth, right, Sam?
Yeah. So myself and Akira, we have this plenty discussions, but it was in a different field altogether. But one thing I would say about failure is just like, like what Edison talks about failure. It's just, you just come to know that this way doesn't work, and you just explore the other way around. That's all. That's all it is. That's how I look at failure as a learning experience. And the third thing is, instead of repeating the picture of failure in your mind, just take the lessons and move forward.
That's all it is, right? And it's one of the cool things about NLP is that there's one of the really cool techniques that I like to employ is visualization. And I won't get into too much about how it actually works, but think about it this way. If you can imagine yourself, right? We all have imagination. All of us do, right? Stacy has it, Dibs has it, Jed has it, Sam has it, I have it. What if we could use this power of imagination to create an image so powerful in our heads that it becomes a part of our being? This is exactly what I did to get to where I needed to physically. I went through a full physical transformation, and Dibs can testify to this because my journey started. Dibs, when did I start my journey? Do you remember? I'm trying to remember.
It was about 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
3-4 months ago. But actually, before I talked to Dibs about my journey, I'd already started about 7 months ago. I'd started with a trainer in another gym, and I was working towards getting to where I am now. And I've still got a lot more to do. But I had this burning image in my head. I visualized myself standing in front of the mirror, totally shredded and ripped, my shirt off, right? In my jeans. Yeah, Levi's commercial. But no, I visualized this whole thing in my head. And it just became such a part of me that it was just so hard for me to get out of that image. It just sort of drove me. So I would be at the gym, no earphones on, no music, nothing else except this image. And I still practice this till today, like to this date, I do the same thing. I go to the gym, no music, no headphones. I've just got this image in my head of me standing in front of that mirror with my goal already achieved. And this is some of the stuff that we're going to be, offering all of you if you decide to work with us, right? We're going to give you these very, very cool superpowers, as I like to call them, right? So this is something you might want to keep in mind. Dibs, you want to add to this?
This is one of the many tools that we're going to be giving you. Like I said formally, this isn't a, hey guys, here's 5 steps, do this, you will be successful. That's not what this is. This is just one of many tools that may or may not work for you. Each one of us are differently, and we're going to help you get to overcome that. Look, that's what being tough is, man. Let's cut the bullshit, cut the salesmanship. Let's just talk about being tough. You don't think fucking Mike Tyson sat and thought about just demolishing his opponent's face in every time? He didn't truly believe, what do you say? I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm the baddest. No one can stop me. Believed it. He imagined it. Thoughts become things. And that's what we're trying to do. Get those bad thoughts out. I suffer from it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm just like you guys, man, just on a different level. No matter what I'm just at a different level and a different goal. And let me tell you, when you're going against legitimately number 6, number 9, and number 11 in the world, there's going to be some bad thoughts that come in your mind. And you have to have a tool or something to be able to combat that thought. Most schools won't give you that. Everybody else is going to tell you, oh, just you got to work around it. You got to figure it out for yourself. We're saying, hold on a second. There is a thing. There's NLP. That's what NLP is for. So that's what makes us unique, is we're going to give you the tools. We're going to see what works for you. There's some stuff that does not work for me, and I know what works for me. And we're going to work with you guys. So that way, when the, oh my God, you're about to take on whatever it is you're going to take on happens, and you get the bad thoughts, we have a way of controlling that, of controlling those emotions. So that way you can focus on the win.
Yeah. So this is essentially what we have to present today. And we're willing to take questions. Any questions from the audience?
So I have one question.
Sam, go ahead.
When I went to the website NLP Warrior, it was mostly talking about fitness, but when Dad was talking, he said that we will guide you in any goal that you want in your life. So I'm trying to understand what you guys are actually trying to help the client on fitness or in achieving anything in their life.
So primarily fitness, yes. And I would say that the other aspects of your life are going to be related, because this is a lifestyle change, right? Fitness is not just about the physical aspect. It's about the mental aspect. And when your mental state changes, when your mental, I would say, pathways change with these new tools and the new information that you have, it's going to affect the other areas of your life automatically, right? So that's what Dibs was talking about. If I'm not mistaken, Dibs, you can correct me if I...
Well, when I say athletes, I consider us all athletes. Everybody's an athlete. If you're a businessman, you're competing against somebody.
Yep.
Right. And that's why, I remember when I was in high school, everyone was like, is cheerleading a sport? And everybody always argue if cheerleading is a sport. It's all I ever heard, right? You're laughing. And people are like, no, it's not a sport, but it is. Why you're competing against two. You're competing against yourself, making sure your routine is great, and you're competing against other people. Right. So it doesn't matter if your goal is to pick up the hottest girl on the bar. That was my goal once a long time ago. And guess what? I was competing against myself, and I was competing against every other guy trying to get her too. So yes, everybody's an athlete. If you have a chase, you got a goal, guess what? You're an athlete.
Yeah. But primarily, Sam, yes, fitness is a huge part of this, part of our model, right? That's what we're focusing on. But again, like Dib said, you can apply to any aspect of your life, right? If you consider yourself an athlete.
Sam, here's a good thing to think about, man, when you think about like the fitness thing versus everyday life, because they do relate a lot. And that's why on our podcast, we talk about stuff you may not think is related. But how many people have you seen that try to set a goal and they start dating a girl and all of a sudden their goal goes downhill? Mm-hmm. Prime example. And it's like, okay, well, those aren't related. Well, aren't they? She came in the picture and now he's giving all this stuff up. And they broke up, and now he's 6 months down the road, further behind than what he was before he started.
Yep.
So how do we get around that? How do we do that? How do we prevent that from happening so we're not balanced, but there's some harmony in there? How do we fix that? So that everything is related, especially when you're trying to make yourself into a better person, and your everyday life is part of yourself. So that has to be adjusted somewhat. That's why it's unique here, because I don't see anybody else touching those things. It's either straight black and white fitness diet stuff or straight black and white. Here's what you need to do mentally. Nobody's ever combined the two when they are both together like a puzzle, like it's perfectly. Nobody's ever made that correlation.
Yep. So
that's why we're doing what we're doing now.
That answer you, Sam?
Yep.
Stacy, anything that you want to add? Comments, questions?
No, this is so damn straight and right on. It's unreal. I'm just like, damn.
Did we blow you away or what?
Yes. Well, the title of it blew me away when I did this. I was like, oh, I need to go and join this.
Wonderful. That's amazing.
Well, if there's no questions, guys. I have got to move on to my next tasking. So,
yep.
Looking forward to hearing back from you guys, working with you guys.
Likewise.
Message me. Let's get this ball rolling. Thank you, guys.
Sure.
And tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., we have a Navy Commodore coming on our podcast. He's going to talk about how to be uncommon amongst common people. I'm really looking forward to that. And then the week after, we have the #1 piano player in the world coming on to talk about her tribulation. So good shit coming up. We're doing a lot of good things, and we're looking forward to working with y'all.
Coach Dib. Thanks for joining in. Coach Akira.